All right, let's talk about the cloud. You hear these terms thrown around all the time: SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, and they kind of sound like alphabet soup. Well, today we're going to demystify all of it and figure out what this stuff really means. This is the language of the modern internet.
But first, let me ask you something. When you open up an app, any app, or check your email, have you ever stopped to think about where it actually is? I mean, where does that software physically live? It feels like it's right there on your screen, but it's not. It's running on a server, somewhere in a data center, in what we all call the cloud.
So before we can even get into all those as-a-service acronyms, we got to talk about where these clouds actually gather. Because, there are basically two main options, and it's a huge decision for anyone building something new.
On one side, you've got the public cloud. This is for pretty much anything that needs to be on the open internet for anyone to access. Then you have the private cloud. This is more like a company's own personal, walled-off cloud, hosted on their own servers for things that need to be super secure and internal. And of course, in the real world, most companies use a mix of both, a hybrid approach, to get the best of both worlds.
Okay, now for the main event, the whole as-a-service thing. The best way to think about this is like a ladder. Each rung you climb gives you a different level of service, a different amount of control, and a different set of responsibilities. And we're going to start at the very top rung with the one you are almost definitely using, probably every single day.
And that is software as a service, or SaaS. This is by far the easiest one to wrap your head around. You're basically just renting software that's completely finished. All you have to do is log in, usually through a web browser, and start using it. The best analogy? It's like renting a fully furnished apartment. The power is on, the furniture's there, you just show up and live in it.
And that's the whole point, right? It's all about convenience. You don't have to install a thing. The provider handles all that messy behind-the-scenes work. The updates, the maintenance, the bug fixes. It's the whole shebang, all wrapped up for you in a neat little package.
You use this stuff all the time. Think about it. Google Mail, Office 365, those are classic SaaS applications. You don't install Gmail on your computer, you just go to the website and log in. It just works. It's that simple.
Okay, so now let's jump all the way to the bottom of the ladder, the complete opposite end of the spectrum. This is infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. Here, you're not getting a finished apartment at all. Nope, you're renting an empty plot of land. That's it. You get the raw, fundamental building blocks, the servers, the networking, the storage, and the rest is all on you.
So with IaaS, you have all the power, but that also means you have all the responsibility. You're the one installing the operating system, managing the applications, handling every single software upgrade. It's a ton more work, for sure. But what you get in return is total granular control. That's why some people even call it hardware as a service.
A perfect example of this is a basic web hosting provider. When you buy server space from them, you're not buying a pre-made website. You're just getting a chunk of a server. What you decide to build on it and how you run it, that is totally up to you. That's IaaS in a nutshell.
So we've got our two extremes. On one side, SaaS gives you total convenience. On the other side, IaaS gives you total control. So what about the middle? What if you need a little of both? What fills that big question mark right in the center?
Well, that's where PaaS comes in. Platform as a service. This is the perfect happy medium. To stick with our analogies, if SaaS is the furnished apartment and IaaS is the empty lot, then PaaS is like renting a fully equipped workshop. The provider gives you the space, all the power tools, the workbenches, but you have to bring the project and build it yourself.
The key here is that it's a shared responsibility model. The provider takes care of the workshop itself. They manage the underlying platform and engine. Your job is to take the building blocks they give you to create and maintain your own unique application. It really is a true partnership.
You want to know a great real-world example of this? Salesforce.com. They provide this massive, incredibly powerful platform, and then thousands of developers come in and use all their tools and pre-made components to build totally custom apps for businesses. The apps are all different, but they all run on that same Salesforce foundation.
Okay, so we've covered the three main models. Now let's put it all together and actually visualize how the responsibility shifts between you, the customer, and the provider. This is where it all clicks into place.
Because really, that's what it all comes down to, isn't it? When something breaks or needs an update, whose job is it to fix it? Who's on the hook? Let's break it down. Okay, check this out. This chart makes it so easy to see. On the far left, you've got on-premises. That's the old school way, where you are responsible for everything.
The whole stack is your problem. Now look what happens as we move to the right. With IaaS, the provider takes over the physical stuff at the bottom. Move over to PaaS, and they take on even more. Now they're managing the operating system too. And then, all the way on the right, with SaaS, the provider handles almost everything. Your main job is just to manage your data and who can use it. See that pattern? The further to the right you go, the more convenience you get, but the less control you have.
So, knowing about that trade-off between control and convenience, how do you actually choose the right model for what you're trying to do? Let's do a quick recap of which one is best for the job.
It's actually pretty straightforward. If you need software that's just ready to go right out of the box, like an email service, you go with SaaS. Simple. If you're a developer and you want to build your own custom app fast without worrying about the servers underneath, PaaS is your best friend. And if you need absolute total control over everything, the hardware and the whole software stack, you're going to want IaaS.
And there you have it. The big 3 cloud models, finally demystified. So I'll leave you with this little challenge. The next time you're using an app or a website, just stop for a second and think about it. Now that you know the language of the cloud, can you tell which model is powering your digital life? Something to think about.